Night falls like a gentle waltz enveloping the entire city of Geneva, where centuries-old buildings embrace the tranquil waters of Lake Léman, reflecting a night sky ablaze with lights. Even the modern, towering glass skyscrapers cannot overshadow the classic beauty of cobblestone boulevards and the weathered brown tiled roofs in the city center. A soft breeze, carrying the chill from the alpine peaks, weaves through narrow alleys, setting the lakeside foliage whispering as if sharing stories of bygone centuries. About a 10-minute drive from the city center, in a white-walled chateau, the charity gala Lights of Hope had begun. The grand hall glowed with warm golden light from dozens of candles and shimmering crystal chandeliers. Classical melodies floated through the air, mingling with the murmurs over glasses of deep red wine. The distinguished guests, political dignitaries, international entrepreneurs, artists, strolled and conversed, their chatter lively yet refined. It was said that this event marked the intersection of global financial power and humanitarian purpose, co-sponsored by New York's illustrious Sinclair family in partnership with Geneva's venerable Carter lineage. Thus, the guest list comprised elites from every echelon, bank directors, United Nations representatives, and leaders of European enterprises. The goal was not only to raise funds for children in remote regions but also to network, polish reputations, and strengthen business ties. A man entered the hall with an unusually composed air. He wore a charcoal gray suit, a deep Bordeaux tie, and thin-framed metal spectacles. Tall with broad shoulders, his steel blue eyes scanned the room with cool precision. He was Aiden Sinclair, age 28 and sole son of Harrison Sinclair, one of New York's most powerful financial magnates. Though born into privilege, Aiden displayed none of the arrogance often seen in scions of great families. He was polite, spoke sparingly yet so thoughtfully that anyone speaking with him felt truly heard. Few knew that Aiden carried a colossal burden. He was an undercover FBI agent sent covertly to Geneva to dismantle an international money laundering and smuggling ring. Under the guise of Chief Financial Officer of Sinclair Global's European branch, he had seamlessly collaborated with Agent Lucas Moore, FBI Station Chief in Geneva, and other colleagues to gather evidence and monitor a notorious criminal network. Aiden's emotions that night were both complex and taut. Any guest could be a link in the cross-border money laundering chain. He had to choose his words carefully, observe even the slightest gesture. Though he appeared to mingle at a high society gala as if it were an ordinary social event, every fiber of his being remained on high alert, admitting no slip. At the chateau's entrance, under the brilliant golden light, a young woman emerged with an aura of gentle beauty. She wore a satin evening gown of soft pink, her slender figure complemented by an oval face and deep brown eyes shining with feminine warmth. She was Amelia Emily Carter, aged 26, a private banker at UBS Geneva, only daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Carter, one of Switzerland's most influential banking families. Stepping slowly out of a luxury car, Emily settled her weight onto nude-colored stiletto heels. Her hair was elegantly styled into a light chignon, and the scent of Chanel No. 5 trailed with each step. Her porcelain skin, slightly parted lips, and a blend of timidity and confidence showed in her gaze as she took in the surroundings. Though she attended charity galas frequently for her banking career, tonight felt special. She was to meet the young man her family had chosen, rumored to be a prime candidate for the Sinclair family's next daughter-in-law. In Emily's chest, curiosity and anticipation fluttered. She believed marriage was a serious matter not to be rushed. Yet, knowing this match united the Carters and Sinclairs, families long intertwined through joint investment projects, she trusted her parents' choice. This evening, the Carters had arranged a private introduction in the chateau's VIP area. She hoped to show her gentle sincerity and pray that the young man before her was refined, mature, someone to protect her and share life's burdens. Aiden moved deftly through the crowd, his eyes inadvertently met the soft pink-clad figure. At first, he assumed she was just another guest, he could not yet discern the nature of their connection. But when Emily approached and greeted him in a hushed tone, he noticed a slight flush on her cheeks and a tenderness in her eyes. "Good evening. You must be Mr. Sinclair." Emily offered a gentle smile, tilting her head slightly, her voice as sweet as honey. Aiden paused and studied her features under the golden light. He gave a subtle nod and returned her smile. "Yes. I am Aiden Sinclair. And you are?" "I'm Carter, Amelia Carter. It's an honor to meet you." Emily inclined her head respectfully, her cheeks tinged with rose. Extremely polite, Aiden nodded again, lowering his voice. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Emily. Thank you to both our families for arranging this meeting." A soft violin strain rose in the grand hall, soothing the initial tension. Emily listened a moment, then gently steered Aiden toward a quieter corner where a round table draped in white satin cloth stood beside a window overlooking the rose garden. Outside, Lake Lemon sparkled under starlight, its ripples like a balm to the spirit. "Isn't this city beautiful?" Emily gazed out the window, hands clasped before her chest, her eyes reflective. "I love Geneva. I've lived here since I was a child, but each time I see the lake at sunset, I feel so fortunate." Aiden's brow furrowed as he recalled sneaking out to the lakeshore for clandestine photo shoots, his way of coping with work stress. He said, "Indeed. Geneva is both ancient and modern. I haven't had much time to explore all its corners, but I hope to do so soon." Emily turned back to him, searching for a point of connection. "At UBS, we value history and tradition. I've worked in private client relations, so I've met many international entrepreneurs. I understand you travel to Europe often. Will you be staying here long term, or is this just a brief assignment?" Aiden offered a firm, courteous smile. "I will be serving as CFO for Sinclair Global's European branch. My work requires me to be in Geneva, close to such an important financial center. But I'll also be traveling frequently. Our group has many international projects." In Aiden's eyes, Emily caught a fleeting sadness, as though weighed by concerns beyond social formalities. She wished to learn more but did not wish to pry. So she changed the subject. "Do you ever stroll along the lake in the morning, Mr. Sinclair? I often jog on Chemin du Lac, it's lovely there." Aiden nodded politely. "Perhaps you could show me one day. I'd like to see Geneva from a local's perspective and experience everyday life here." "That would be wonderful," Emily exclaimed, her innocent enthusiasm evident. "I'll arrange a crisp morning next week." She added quickly, "Oh, and if you're free, I could take you to some lakeside cafes. They serve fantastic cappuccinos and handmade pastries." Aiden's eyes brightened momentarily, warmer with genuine interest. In that instant, Emily felt her heart flutter, an unusual sensation upon first meeting someone. She dared not reveal too much, but her pulse raced. While Aiden and Emily spoke in hushed tones, their parents stood nearby, watching closely. Harrison Sinclair, now in his 60s, wore a black tuxedo, his graying hair neatly combed, his sharp eyes trained on his son. Pride and tension marked his features. He knew his son stood at a pivotal moment, expected to both carry on the family legacy and fulfill his clandestine obligations to the FBI. He longed for the two families to soon become in-laws, an alliance that would strengthen Sinclair Global's foothold in Europe while bolstering their political clout. On the other side, Edgar Carter, director of UBS Geneva and Emily's father, was outwardly composed, though worry flickered in his eyes. He offered Harrison a friendly smile, thinking to himself, "My daughter is gentle and obedient. I hope she finds someone who respects and protects her. I pray the young man before us is more than an elegant facade, may he hold a warm heart." Beside him, Margaret Carter gently reminded, "Emily, dear, you shouldn't stand in the cold so long. Let's move inside to enjoy the remainder of the cocktails." She bowed slightly to Harrison Sinclair. "Thank you for inviting us this evening." Harrison bowed in return. It's nothing, Margaret Carter. Tonight marks an important beginning for both our families. Casting a glance over his shoulder at his son, he addressed Edgar Carter. What do you think of my grandson's future spouse? Edgar offered a modest smile. Emily is kind and considerate. We trust she'll care for the family well, though we know marriage changes many things. The two patriarchs exchanged a few polite words, each conscious of the enormous responsibilities now tied to this match. They understood that if Aiden and Emily united in marriage, it would be far more than a union of hearts, it would be a transatlantic political-financial alliance with far-reaching influence. Once Harrison and Edgar stepped away to greet other guests, Aiden escorted Emily into the main hall, where plush crimson velvet armchairs awaited. On a table lay premium wines and platters of fresh seafood hors d'oeuvres. He pulled out a chair for her and offered, "You must be tired. The sweet and sour roast pigeon is quite delicious, I ordered it especially. Please, have a taste." Emily smiled shyly. "Thank you. I can't eat much seafood, but I'll try a bit." For a moment, their eyes met. Both felt a gentle warmth. Aiden inclined his head and gazed at her, her hair neatly pinned, a few silky strands framing her forehead, her slender figure clothed in soft pink satin. In his mind, he thought, she is so beautiful and gentle. How can anyone be so tender in a world full of schemes? Emily looked up, meeting his deep gaze. She blushed and averted her eyes, focusing on the tinkling fork and knife. For the first time in years, she wondered, could this man become the peaceful harbor I yearn for? A lull settled into the hall, punctuated only by background music and the soft laughter of other guests. Aiden spoke quietly, "If you'd like, I can show you some other parts of the chateau. There are many famous paintings and sculptures to see." Emily's eyes brightened, her long lashes fluttering. "Really? I'd love that. I'm always intrigued by history and art in old castles. Will you guide me?" Aiden offered a faint smile. "I'd be delighted to be your reluctant tour guide. But it's quite far, and the hallway is dimly lit, only enough light to appreciate each painting." Excitement shone on Emily's face. She rose and followed him down a long, red-carpeted corridor. Along the walls, large oil paintings in gilded frames depicted scenes from Europe's Renaissance. Light from subtle sconces glimmered on the protective glass, casting dancing reflections. The deeper they walked, the quieter it became. Only the sound of footsteps on the thick carpet accompanied them. Emily reached out to touch a frame and whispered, "Oh, this is Hansai's portrait, the Austrian Prince of Opera. They say he was passionate about singing." Aiden studied each detail, then said, "Correct. Every painting has its own story. I don't know them all, but I can feel the artist's soul in each brushstroke." Emily inhaled deeply, savoring the softened glow from the crystal chandelier's candles. She thought, "I imagined a match arranged by my family would be cold and tense. Yet beside Aiden, I sense a gentle calm." Suddenly, as they entered a small salon at the corridor's end, the lighting brightened. A violin rested by a window, playing a haunting melody. Every so often, a tick from a loose string reached Emily's ears, giving rise to a strange, almost eerie feeling. She asked softly, "Whose violin is this? The music is so enchanting." Aiden explained, "This is the chateau's secondary music room. Sometimes, the hosts invite musicians to perform. But tonight, they've left the violin for guests to play at will." Emily stepped forward, examining the gleaming mahogany instrument, its fine floral carvings evident in the soft light. She gave a small, embarrassed smile. "I learned a little piano as a child, but I've never tried the violin. What a shame." In a swift gesture, Aiden retrieved a pen from inside his jacket pocket, wrapped a small note, and placed it on the violin's belly. His eyes skimmed past Emily, then he quickly looked away, as though hiding a secret. Emily, engrossed in the instrument, did not notice, only a flutter of curiosity in her heart about his fleeting gaze. She turned to a large landscape painting on the opposite wall, mountains and rivers in perfect harmony, evoking a sense of weightless serenity. She thought, if only life could be as gentle as this scenery. Aiden's composed demeanor intrigued Emily. She recalled how the Carter family had spoken of him upon her arrival in Geneva. The Sinclair heir rarely reveals his emotions and can be aloof, yet he's deeply responsible and noble. In her heart, doubt and excitement mingled. She asked herself, does he truly care for others, or is he merely playing a role among the guests? Unbeknownst to her, Aiden wrestled with his own conflicting feelings. Though trained to conceal emotion perfectly, in Emily's small, tender presence his heart stirred, part comfort, part apprehension. The weight of his secret mission pressed on him, haunted by the fear of exposure. Yet watching Emily's gentle fascination with art made him long to be genuine, at least with her. Time slipped away. A soft chime from his phone interrupted the hush. Aiden glanced at the screen, his brow furrowing with sudden concern. He placed a hand lightly on Emily's shoulder and said, "I'm sorry, I need to take a call immediately. Please wait in the salon for just a moment." Emily's eyes glimmered with disappointment, but she managed a knowing smile. "Of course. I can enjoy the view here." Aiden stood for a moment, offering instructions. "Keep your phone on and nearby. There are many people here. If anything happens, message me at once." Emily nodded and let her gaze drift to the softly lit windows, where the city glowed in the night. In her heart, a twinge of regret surfaced. Though the gala was dazzling, she wished for more time to speak with him. She told herself, tonight is just the beginning. He may be busy, but I trust he cares about me. Aiden turned the corner of the hallway to take the call. He saw on his phone's screen a message from Agent Lucas, urgent meeting. He inhaled deeply, slipped the phone back into his pocket, and looked toward Emily one last time. Under the sinuous glow of the lights, his silhouette cast on the stone wall as if dividing two worlds, one of glittering society, the other of ruthless underworld schemes. Emily remained seated by the window, her lips pressed lightly together as she watched his disappearing figure. A sharp pang struck her chest, but she could not articulate what her heart was demanding. She only knew this evening she had met a man who could change her life, yet also lead her into unpredictable turns. In the stillness, the violin's melody lingered, a soft echo between shifting chords. Emily sighed, reaching into her purse to retrieve the folded note on the violin. Perhaps Aiden had left it by accident. She unfolded it and saw hastily written words. E.C. Be wary of the shadows around us. I want you safe. She frowned, hastily stashing the note back into her purse, and exhaled the cool, crisp air of the chateau corridor. Even though she had only just met him, a fragile hope pulsed in her chest. A faint sense of foreboding wove through her thoughts, whispering of the tumult yet to come. When Aiden returned, he found Emily absent from the salon. He hurried along the corridor until he spotted her standing by the window, gazing out at the dusky city and placid lake. He approached quietly and said, "Have you been standing here long? I apologize if I've kept you waiting." Emily turned, returning a gentle smile. "I simply wanted to admire Geneva's nightscape alone, to gather my thoughts before returning to my room. I know your work is stressful, I understand." Aiden looked deeply into her eyes, his tone warm. "Thank you for your patience." The moon cast a pale light over the future couple's figures, their silhouettes mere steps apart, yet in each heart flickered a stirring too profound for words, astonishment at their meeting, and yearning for what might follow. "Tomorrow," Emily asked softly, "could you let me show you around Lake Lemon?" Aiden nodded earnestly. "I would be delighted. Rest early tonight, okay? It will be chilly tomorrow, so dress warmly." Emily smiled and closed her eyes, savoring the moment. All her worries seemed to vanish. She murmured, if only life could always be this serene. Yet in a distant corner, unseen figures lurked, watching them. The unspoken warning from the note on the violin's surface still echoed, be wary of the shadows around us. No matter how romantic Geneva's night, it could not completely conceal the hidden scheming beneath. Tonight, Aiden and Emily knew only the warmth of golden lights, a sweet beginning to a love story. But who could suspect that from this very moment, their lives would soon be drawn into a vortex of danger, conspiracy, betrayal, and the struggle for survival. Dawn's crystal-clear light streamed through a thin veil of clouds atop the Alps, casting a pale pink glow over Lake Léman. In front of the Château de Chillon's ancient stone walls, the fortress shimmered in the early morning light, as if awaiting the grand celebration of the day. Rows of roses and violets lined the cobblestone pathway, their sweet fragrance carried by a cool breeze. A warm hymn drifted through the air, mingling with cheerful birdsong heralding a new day. From first light, the chateau buzzed with the bustle of assistants, makeup artists, and dressers. The stone corridors, each slab carefully laid, were flanked by carved reliefs depicting medieval princes and noble houses, lending a reverent yet solemn air to the surroundings. Inside an opulent chamber, pale morning sunshine filtered through a glass window pane, illuminating sheer gold draperies. There, the bride, Amelia Emily Carter, stood before a mirror, studying her reflection in a pristine white satin wedding gown. "Just a hair snug, but you look absolutely radiant," said Emily's aunt, Mrs. Margaret Carter, stepping forward and gently straightening the bridal bouquet in her niece's hand. Emily offered a tentative smile. The gown embraced her slender figure, an elegant square neckline, a cinched waist, and a skirt that flared lightly like white butterfly wings. Crafted by Gustave Atelier of Zurich, a renowned fashion house, the delicate veil was embroidered with glittering crystal beads along its edge, shimmering under the lights. Emily brushed a stray lock of hair aside, her deep brown eyes glistening with a mix of excitement and nervousness. In her mind, she felt both joy and a twinge of apprehension. Tomorrow, I officially join the Sinclair family, an esteemed lineage, but one that carries immense expectations. I must do my best to honor my parents and to meet my husband's hopes. Footsteps quickened outside the door. A member of the service staff hurried in and whispered, "Mrs. Carter, the groom and his procession have arrived. They are awaiting you at the steps below." Margaret nodded, gently taking Emily's hand. "Are you ready? When you walk in, maintain your composure. Breathe deeply, step in time with the music, and remember to look at him." Emily inhaled a deep breath, closing her eyes briefly. A small chime rang, signaling that family and attendants had knelt outside the chamber. She placed a hand over her heart, feeling it pound. Finally, she nodded confidently and smiled. "I'm ready, Auntie." A wedding attendant straightened Emily's gown and guided her toward the door. The chateau's orchestra began to swell, playing a measured, stately tempo. Trumpets rang out briefly, and piano chords spread through the hall. Below on the stone steps, assembled guests included Geneva government representatives, U.S. embassy dignitaries, European financial partners, and the entirety of both the Carter and Sinclair families. Every pair of eyes turned toward the couple about to ascend the aisle. "So beautiful," murmured one VIP guest. "Miss Carter looks so elegant, truly a perfect match for the Sinclair heir," commented a British businessman. The music shifted to a lower, more solemn melody as Emily took each graceful step. Guided by her aunt's gentle support, she tilted her head slightly within her lightweight bridal mantle and stepped into the hall. Before her stood Aiden Sinclair in a black velvet tuxedo with a neat bow tie. He remained stoic, but an undercurrent of warmth shone in his eyes as he watched his bride approach. The music faded into silence. Emily's footsteps echoed through the venerable chamber, drawing everyone's attention. Aiden gave a subtle tilt of his head, his steel blue eyes followed her closely as he pressed a hand to his ear, masking his nervousness. Outside, wisps of white cloud drifted across the pale morning sky, temporarily obscuring the sun. Beneath the soft glow of the chateau's chandeliers, the officiating priest from St. Pierre's Church, tall with a resonant voice, placed his hand on a Bible and spoke. Today, in the sight of God and in the presence of family, we gather to bless two souls, Aiden Sinclair and Amelia Carter. May you share a lifetime of happiness, journey side by side along life's path, upholding loyalty and love as you build your home together. Emily held her breath, her hands trembled around the wedding band. This ring, an original design featuring a 1.2-carat diamond inspired by a shooting star, symbolized hope and the yearning for lasting happiness. Aiden remained composed, nodding slightly to signify his agreement, the sparkle of emotion barely visible in his calm expression. "Mr. Sinclair, you may now place the ring on Mrs. Carter's finger," the priest intoned. Aiden bowed his head and, with a gentle tremor in his hand, accepted the velvet-lined ring box from an attendant. In that moment, slanted sunlight filtered through a stained glass window, outlining a soft halo around the couple. He lifted the square-cut diamond ring and slipped it onto Emily's slender ring finger. Emily closed her eyes, a bittersweet smile touching her lips. When she reopened them, she looked at him. "With this ring, I pledge to love you and protect you all my days," Aiden said quietly, each word resonating with sincerity. Overcome, Emily nodded and lifted the second ring for him. All around erupted in applause and cheers. The sky outside was a pure, serene blue, silent witness to the couple's solemn vow. After the religious rite, the guests moved quietly to their assigned seats beneath a grand white marquee by the lake. Round tables draped in pristine white cloths were adorned with pink roses and flickering candles. The symphony resumed, playing a gentle waltz. At the head table sat Aiden and Emily, flanked by both parents, their chairs mirroring one another. "Are you happy, my dear?" asked Mrs. Margaret in a low voice, leaning in toward her daughter. Emily's eyes shone as she smiled. "Yes, Auntie, I'm very happy. It's so different from what I imagined." Margaret nodded, studying her daughter. "Enjoy every moment, but be prepared for challenges. The Sinclair family expects a daughter-in-law to be tactful and to maintain the family's reputation." Emily fell silent, absorbing the music's harmonies. She sensed that her life would revolve around the intricate web of business, politics, and prestige of two powerful houses. But for now, she inhaled deeply and turned her gaze toward her soon-to-be husband. In her heart, she felt joy mingled with a quiet concern. Am I strong enough to stand beside Aiden and weather all storms? Opposite her, Harrison Sinclair, the future father-in-law, spoke deliberately. "Congratulations to you both. Sinclair Global proudly welcomes Amelia Carter as an official member of our family. May you build upon this foundation, uphold integrity and honor. I believe you two will be a powerful pair, balancing career and social responsibility." Emily bowed respectfully to Harrison. Aiden inclined his head in return. The applause thundered once more as the orchestra paused to allow guests to be served. Then, the feast continued: lobster, foie gras, wagyu filet, followed by a tower of macaron and fine French red wine. As guests dined and chatted, toasting the newlyweds, Aiden caught Emily's eye and saw unspoken emotions in her, a determination to adapt and a desire for belonging. He thought, I must protect her and keep her safe. No matter how demanding life may become, she should never feel alone. The next day, beneath brilliant spring sunshine, the newlywed couple traveled to the lakeside villa reserved by the Sinclair family. The villa, designed in the neoclassical style, stood on all sides next to the water. Its upper floor boasted a broad balcony overlooking the Alpine range, the ground floor featured a sweeping porch, and below lay a garden ablaze with tulips in every hue. A small yacht rested at the quay, waiting for serene family outings on the lake. Emily flung open the car door and inhaled the fresh, fragrant air. The scent of magnolia wafted around her, and gentle waves lapped the shore. She cast a delighted glance at the villa's interior, gleaming walnut floors, plush oak furniture, a Persian rug as soft as velvet, and gilded framed oil paintings along the walls. She felt footsteps behind her. Aiden stood there with his arms folded, smiling. "This will be our home," he said. "I hope you feel comfortable here." Overjoyed, Emily nodded, her face lighting up. "It's beautiful. But I'm a bit anxious. Any mishandling of these priceless artworks could be disastrous." Aiden laughed softly, gently taking her hand and leading her inside. "Don't worry. Feel at ease. I'll always be here to care for and protect you." They entered the lavish drawing room, where a large oil painting of a Santorini sunset, hues of violet and orange, hung above a gleaming marble fireplace. A jewel-green velvet sofa sat at the room's center, facing the fireplace. Emily wandered around, her fingertips brushing a small marble statue of a woman clutching a bouquet. She gave a contented smile. "This home is amazing. Thank you for choosing it." Aiden regarded her with tenderness and a trace of solemnity. "It was arranged by my family. I only hope you truly like it." Emily turned and wrapped her arms around his waist, resting her head on his shoulder. "I love it. You've made me so happy." Aiden knelt down and placed a gentle kiss on her forehead. "I promise to keep you safe and happy." That afternoon, after the last of their luggage had been unpacked, Emily decided to prepare a simple meal for the two of them. The kitchen, on the ground floor opposite the dining room, was spacious, featuring a large double-door refrigerator, 2 high-powered ovens, and white marble countertops. Warm golden pendant lights illuminated the cozy space. Emily changed out of her wedding gown and pulled on a light cardigan. She surveyed the ingredients laid out: turkey, shiitake mushrooms, carrots, onions, fresh cream, and imported Italian seasonings. She took a wooden cutting board and began slicing the vegetables. The faint aroma of olive oil filled the air, soothing her. In the drawing room, Aiden sat at his oak desk, studying a hefty financial report titled Q1 2024 Financial Report, Sinclair Global Europe. He furrowed his brow and underlined passages with a pencil. Beside him lay an encrypted phone, placed at the edge of the desk in case of urgent FBI messages. From the kitchen came the steady rhythm of knife against board, mingled with a muted Bloomberg economic news broadcast from the television. Emily stocked the perfect amount of salt and sugar into her recipe, thinking, "Though this is our first private day alone, I want to cook something delicious to warm his heart after a busy day." About 40 minutes later, a servant placed the meal on the table. The main course, pan-seared turkey in a creamy mushroom sauce, accompanied by a mixed green salad with honey vinaigrette and buttery mashed potatoes. Emily listened for Aiden's footsteps, which soon approached. He appeared at the kitchen doorway, his posture showing mild fatigue yet radiating warmth. "It smells incredible. How did you make this so appetizing?" Aiden asked, his eyes glinting with gratitude. Emily blushed and glanced down at the dishes. "Please sit. I haven't set out the meal just yet." He signaled the servant to pull out her chair, then took a seat opposite her. He poured Emily a glass of fresh lemonade and filled his own goblet with white wine. As Emily prepared to start eating, Aiden discreetly used hand signals to dial Lucas's secure number. To Emily, it seemed an ordinary phone call, but he was transmitting through an encrypted line to the FBI, ensuring every detail, from his analysis of the financial report to strategic planning, was recorded. Emily noticed a crease form on Aiden's brow and the faint pink in his cheeks betraying exhaustion. She leaned forward and touched his arm. "Are you okay? Is work under control?" Aiden turned to her, offering a soft, bittersweet smile. "Everything's stable. I need to finalize this report by next week. Starting tomorrow, I'd like you to visit my office. I want you to experience a bit of my work life." Emily's brows furrowed with concern. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. Only if you think it truly necessary. Aiden nodded but softened his gaze. I understand, but trust me. Working there will help you understand me better, and it will put my mind at ease. Emily smiled gently and placed a hand on his shoulder, stroking it. All right. I'll do my best to fit in. The office phone rang. Aiden set down his utensils quickly and answered, his voice low. Lucas Moore's coded message crackled through. Aiden, Emily is coming to headquarters tomorrow. There are several documents that need your review. Remember, absolute secrecy. Aiden whispered, understood. Having her by my side makes me feel more secure. He ended the call, bowed to Emily, and turned back to her. I'm sorry, love. Work calls. Please start without me, I'll join you shortly. Emily's smile dimmed a little, but she nodded. Don't worry. There's plenty here. As evening fell, the villa's warm golden lights glowed against the darkening sky. The living room sparkled with chandelier light, and beyond the windows, the lake's mirrored surface rippled in gentle motion. Emily sat alone, cradling a bowl of hot cream of mushroom soup, her gaze drifting over the placid waves. She recalled Aiden's words, visiting my place of work will help you understand me. She wondered, why does he want me to come? I fear I cannot adapt to the pressures and security protocols akin to the FBI. Yet. If I don't understand his hidden world, how can we ever be truly close? In the kitchen, the whir of utensils signaled Aiden's return from his makeshift office. He walked down the wood-floored hallway, recalling how soon he would be father-in-law in the Carter's eyes, an architect of his own future and career. A subtle anxiety stirred within him. Will Emily be resilient enough to share the truth beneath my glittering facade? He entered the living room, where the television still broadcasted economic news and a stack of agency reports awaited near his encrypted laptop. He sat beside Emily, watching her finish the last spoonful of soup. You did wonderfully today, he murmured. Emily lifted her head, her brown eyes soft. Please don't stress yourself. I'll handle the paperwork at your office. I trust you'll protect me. Aiden smiled and tucked a lock of her hair behind her ear. Next week, you'll officially start there. I'll introduce you to Lucas and Sophia. It won't be easy, but I'll be right beside you. Remember, keep everything confidential. Emily nodded, her lips set with determination. I understand. I won't let our private life be exposed. I want to stand by your side, even if it's challenging. Aiden remained silent for a moment, taking a deep breath, then tapped the table gently. I want that too. Let's face it together. They sat quietly, gazing at Lake Lemon under the night sky. A gentle breeze whispered through the open window, like a soft vow. Above, faint stars appeared, their reflections dancing in the couple's warm eyes. When the moon climbed high, the villa fell into a silvery hush. Aiden returned to his study, firing up his computer to review sensitive data. On screen lay spreadsheets of suspicious banking transactions and account flows, his focus sharp until nearly midnight. Meanwhile, Emily retreated to their bedroom. The broad bed was dressed in crisp white linens, and goose-down pillows invited restful slumber. On her bedside table lay the guidebook, Adapting to a Secure Work Environment. She crossed into the spacious marble bathroom and let water cascade over her, the faint scent of soap enveloping her senses. In her mind, she thought, tomorrow, I step into his hidden world, a world of truth and danger. But I'm not afraid, because I stand beside him. Dressing in a plush bathrobe, she sat at her vanity and delicately applied eyeliner, making her eyes shine just so. She had never been one for elaborate makeup, but tonight she wanted to impress both her husband and his colleagues. When she finished, she opened the window and breathed in the crisp, starlit air. Outside, the yacht rested motionless, and the lake rippled as if offering a gentle lullaby. Emily felt a strange mix of calm and wonder, I have entered both a world of beauty and a realm of peril with him. Around midnight, Aiden quietly knocked and entered Emily's room, carrying 2 steaming mugs of hot cocoa. Setting them on her desk, he sat beside her. Bathed in the soft glow of a desk lamp, they sat shoulder to shoulder. "Aren't you asleep yet?" he asked in a hushed tone. Emily gently shook her head and smiled. "I've been thinking about tomorrow." Aiden traced the rim of his cocoa mug, his gaze drifting to the lake's contours visible through the window. "Me too. We must guard our secrets closely. There are things I haven't told you yet, but I trust you to understand when the time comes." Emily laced her hands together and nodded, lifting her eyes to his. "I trust you. Whatever it is, I will do my best. I wish you could sleep." Aiden gave a soft smile and placed a hand on her shoulder. "I wish so as well. But this work allows no mistakes." Silence fell, save for the gentle slurp of cocoa. In the dim lamplight, Emily's face looked sweet yet resolute. Aiden's expression was strong but shadowed by worry. "Can you tell me your real purpose here?" Emily asked softly. Aiden glanced at her, pausing before speaking. "I'm working to dismantle an international money laundering and smuggling network. It's more complicated than you might think. I can't share all the details, but no, I'm not just your CFO." Emily's eyes brightened with curiosity. "You are. What, then?" Aiden hesitated, offering a gentle, haunting smile. "I am someone who pursues the truth. I believe you're mature enough to hear that." Emily nodded slowly, her lips pressed in a determined line. "I don't fully comprehend, but I believe you. I'll learn what I must." He stroked her hair and furrowed his brow. "Thank you. I will tell you more when it is absolutely necessary. For now, let's get some rest. Tomorrow is a new beginning." Late night stillness reigned, interrupted only by the soft night breeze and the rhythmic ticking of a wall clock. Emily closed her eyes and drifted toward sleep. Aiden remained seated for a while, staring at the secure phone on his desk, its screen blinking. "Lucas, 5 o'clock, briefing, room 302. He exhaled deeply, steeling himself before quietly exiting. The villa lay silent under moonlight, its wooden floors reflecting a sliver of silver from the sky. In the distant corridor, Aiden's footsteps receded, leaving behind stillness fraught with both hope and uncertainty. Before the dawn's first light, a transformative mission, one that would change not only Aiden's life but Emily's as well, had officially begun. Early summer sunlight filtered through the bedroom's glass windows, illuminating the sheer white curtains. Outside, a bus rumbled along the cobblestone street, its sound mingling with the soft rustle of leaves stirred by the cool breeze rolling in from Lake Lemon. The wall clock struck exactly 5 o'clock in the morning. Amelia Emily Carter slowly opened her eyes and sat up on the plush silk mattress. She furrowed her brow as she recalled her husband's instructions from the previous evening. "Today is your first day at the field office. I'll meet you in the lobby of the West Tower at 7:30. Just remember the dress code, casual business, and bring your temporary ID badge. That's all you need to get inside." Emily's thoughts raced as she faced the significance of this morning. She was about to step into the secret world where Aiden worked, an environment fraught with pressure and danger. Yet her heart brimmed with joy and nervous excitement. "I'm finally going to see the hidden side of Aiden's life. I'm scared, but also so happy." She stretched and sat up, brushing aside the white comforter. The pastel cotton nightshirt still carried the soft scent of her conditioner. She padded into the bathroom, determination coursing through her. She would do her best to blend in and not disappoint her husband. The bathroom's crisp white tiles gleamed, and in one corner stood an oval foot tub. Emily turned on the shower and let the warm water cascade over her back, waking her senses. She used lavender-scented soap, slowly turning to admire herself in the mirror. Her brown eyes still held softness and femininity, her fair complexion radiant, her lips gently curved, though a hint of trepidation lingered. I must calm myself. I'm capable of what lies ahead, but this field office is not a standard banking environment. After her shower, Emily wrapped herself in a fluffy white towel. Carefully, she applied lightweight foundation, shaped her eyebrows, and dabbed on a pale pink lipstick to brighten her face. Next, she selected the casual business outfit Aiden had recommended: slate gray slacks, a cream-colored blouse, and a fitted navy blazer. Around her neck, she artfully tied a slender pastel silk scarf into a small bow. Her nude square-toed heels added height while preserving a graceful femininity. On her vanity sat a beige leather handbag. She placed her wallet, phone, villa keys, and a photocopy of her ID inside. The phone's ding signaled a message from Aiden, accompanied by a photo of the Special Investigations Unit, FBI Geneva building at the end of Rue Mont Blanc. His brief text read, 7:30 in the lobby. Don't be late. Anyone who sees you with me will assume you have prior clearance. Love you. Emily's lips curved into a smile as she replied, I'm ready. I'll be there at 7 o'clock. She lingered over a cup of Vietnamese-style cappuccino, its bittersweet aroma mingling with fresh milk to sharpen her mind, then left the villa. Outside, Aiden's BMW X5 was parked with its door already open, air conditioning running, and the faint green glow on the dashboard indicating it was warmed up. He must have driven the route last night to ensure they wouldn't be late. Emily felt grateful. He always takes care of every detail. The smooth hum of the BMW carried them beneath rows of ancient fir trees. Geneva's streets were still mostly quiet at this hour. At the far end of Rue Mont Blanc they arrived at a 3-story building of frosted glass panels, the FBI Geneva Field Office. American and European Union flags fluttered outside, rustling in the early morning breeze. Strawberry beds laden with ripe fruit flanked one side of the entrance, and the faint scents of roses and lilies filled the air. Security was stringent, an automatic iron gate, cameras covering every angle, and 2 uniformed guards in black stood watch, one a tall Caucasian man, the other a brawny middle-aged guard. Aiden lowered his window and said, You go on in. They've prepared your temporary ID and briefing materials. I'll come inside after. Emily nodded, her heart pounding. She slid out of the car, snugged her blazer more tightly, slipped on a pair of delicate leather gloves, and smiled at the 2 guards. One of them, Agent Patrick Lewis, studied her before handing her a temporary badge and saying, Welcome, Ms. Carter. Please proceed through the right-hand entrance to the main lobby, where you'll be guided further. Emily thanked him and followed the path inside. The lobby spanned roughly 50 square meters, its ceiling fitted with bright recessed lights. Beige-painted walls were decorated with abstract paintings gifted by former FBI staff. In the center stood a large granite reception desk, behind which sat 2 receptionists who gave polite nods: Miss Caroline Young, around 40, hair neatly pulled back in a bun, exuding professionalism, and Ms. Jennifer Collins, around 30, youthful with round, handsome eyeglasses. Caroline slid a name badge across a partition, E. Carter, visitor, then said quietly, Ms. Carter, please take this badge, proceed down the right hallway to room 301, and wait there. Agent Aiden Sinclair will meet you. Emily slipped the badge into her blazer pocket and smiled. Thank you. She turned down a hallway paved with slate-gray ceramic tiles. Security notices lined the walls: no photography. No video recording. No audio devices allowed. Each door bore a small aluminum plaque engraved with a room number, below which was a fingerprint scanner for access. Emily paused at room 301, then gently opened the door. Inside lay a tidy office, a desk and chairs, a computer, an A4 printer, and a 7-drawer steel filing cabinet. The fluorescent lights glowed softly. Moments later, the door swung open, and Aiden stepped in, his eyes bright with pride and seriousness. He wore a tailored black and white suit with a navy tie, his expression formal yet warm when he spotted his wife. "Finally made it," he said. "Are you okay?" Emily offered a small, rosy-cheeked smile. "I'm fine, just a little nervous. But I think I'll get used to it." Aiden nodded, taking her hand and guiding her inside. "Sit here. Lucas and Sophia will be along to brief you." He gestured to a dark leather swivel chair beside the desk. Emily sank into it, her excitement and anxiety in equal measure. Although Aiden had described it many times, seeing the FBI office firsthand still left her breathless. This really is the FBI. Every detail, from the rules posted on the walls to the security systems, makes me feel like I've entered forbidden territory. He truly isn't just a CFO. Shortly thereafter, the door to room 301 opened again. Agent Lucas Moore strode in, tall, composed, and approachable. At around 38 years old, he wore a crisp white shirt and a vibrant red tie, his demeanor both refined and authoritative. "Aiden, you're here," Lucas said. He nodded to Aiden, then turned to Emily. "Ms. Carter, welcome. We've been expecting you. While the work can be demanding, we welcome family members to visit. I hope you'll feel comfortable in the coming month." Emily stood and offered a polite reply. "It's an honor to meet you, Agent Lucas." Lucas glanced at her ID badge and nodded. "Your temporary access is set. You have a restricted badge for the Blue Zone, Level 3. Rooms on this floor are designated for visitors like you. Our introductory security briefing will begin shortly. Please join us on Level 3. As Lucas wheeled around toward the hallway door, Emily rose and took Aiden's hand, then inclined her head in thanks. "Thank you, both of you." Aiden squeezed her hand gently. "Don't worry, this is just initial procedure. Follow their instructions, and you'll adjust quickly." Lucas guided them to the staircase rather than the elevator, both for security and to prevent congestion. The stairwell's 2-meter width was lined with framed photographs of major cases the FBI Geneva office had cracked, each annotated with the date, the case name, and the agents involved. Emily paused to study an image labeled Operation Avalanche, the 2019 European drug ring takedown. Beneath it was the caption, "Agent Sophia Russo, exemplary service." At that moment, Agent Sophia Russo appeared near the top of the stairs. She was slender, with a shoulder-length bob and a strikingly intelligent face. Dressed in a cream blouse, a fitted black blazer, and black slacks, she carried a thick dossier under one arm. Seeing the newlyweds, she smiled broadly. "Good morning, Aiden. It's wonderful to meet you, Miss Carter. Aiden has told me so much about you." Emily returned the smile, her eyes shining. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Agent Russo. I'm eager to learn from you." Sophia settled the dossier on a stair landing and said, "This folder contains the orientation package, area maps, security protocols, briefing schedules, and emergency contacts. Take a look through it, and when you have time, I'll explain the details. For now, welcome to the Blue Zone, Level 3. They continued up the stairs. Each footstep echoed faintly along the wooden steps. Upon reaching Level 3, they approached a frosted glass door emblazoned with the FBI logo. Emily placed her badge on the fingerprint scanner, the door would open, revealing a 20-meter-long corridor. On either side lay rooms labeled Analysis Room, Interrogation Room, and Secure Vault. All doors were sealed, only slim metal plaques with bold white text identified each office. Warm LED lights shone on the polished stone floor, lending an atmosphere of utmost secrecy. At the corridor's end, a large room with frosted glass walls awaited. Inside, about 10 people gathered around a rectangular table strewn with detailed maps of Geneva, post-it notes, and brightly colored highlighters. At the head of the table, a 55-inch television displayed the words "Security Briefing" in flashing red. Lucas motioned them in and closed the door behind them. "Allow me to introduce Agent Viktor Petrov," Lucas said, pointing to a tall man with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a distinguished Slavic appearance. Viktor wore a gray shirt and black slacks. His seasoned eyes gave away his experience. He was a Russian intelligence agent temporarily assigned to FBI Geneva to assist with signal intelligence analysis and certain Eastern European cases. Viktor will be coordinating with you on financial data analysis. "And this is Agent Marcus Chen," Lucas continued, gesturing to a swift, treasurer-looking 30-year-old of Chinese descent, an IT and cybersecurity specialist. Emily acknowledged them with a polite nod and smile. Instantly, she felt the weight of this field office, the solemn atmosphere, colleagues engrossed in critical tasks, the sense that everyone here was on a mission. Under the dim briefing room lights, agents sat around the large conference table. Lucas stood and began. "For today's introduction, we will cover security protocols, movement regulations, your expected role as Ms. Carter over the next month, and mandatory confidentiality rules. Please note, everything discussed here is top secret, eyes only. Feel free to ask questions, but absolutely no video recording or photography." Emily nodded attentively, her hands folded on the table, eyes fixed on Lucas. In her mind, she was both thrilled and trembling. "I must not let a single detail slip. I need to remember all of this." Lucas advanced to the first slide, which read FBI Geneva, Security Protocols. Beneath were bullet points in white text. Restricted areas, Level 1, Reception, Level 2, Administration, Level 3, Operations, Blue Zone, Level 4, Secure Vault, Red Zone. Movement Protocols, do not enter the Red Zone, Level 4, without authorization. Upon exiting the Blue Zone, Level 3, check out with security control. Always wear and display your ID badge. Communications, all calls on office phones must use the encrypted system. Personal phones are strictly prohibited in the Red Zone and in the interrogation room. Emergency Protocol, in case of a lockdown alert, everyone must move to Shelter Room 304, secure the door, and establish contact with the chain of command. Visitor Responsibilities, remain silent, follow your host, Aiden or Lucas, do not contact members of the media, and do not disclose colleagues' identities. Throughout Lucas's presentation, Emily listened intently, occasionally jotting notes. Her hand trembled slightly around the pen, acutely aware of the seriousness of every rule. Some of the agents exchanged encouraging glances. Sophia, seated beside her, nodded and offered a supportive smile as if to ask, "Are you okay?" Once Lucas finished the preliminary rules, he continued. "Since Ms. Carter will be working only in the analysis room from 8 o'clock to 1600 hours, we will pair her with Agents Russo and Petrov for assistance. Today, they will train you on the intranet system and the IntelNet portal. Beginning tomorrow, you'll officially start work on financial data collection, suspicious transaction analysis, and drafting preliminary reports for submission to my desk." Lucas paused, looking at Emily. "Any questions, Ms. Carter?" Emily lifted her head, eyes bright with resolve, and said, "I'm somewhat anxious about using the encryption software. I've never worked with such systems before. My background is in commercial banking, not cybersecurity." Lucas nodded. "Of course. Today, Sophia and Viktor will teach you everything. Trust me, they're experts. Just pay attention, and you'll manage." After the briefing concluded, Sophia led Emily into the analysis room. Inside were 2 workstations accommodating up to 4 people, each equipped with a pair of 32-inch LCD monitors and special keyboards labeled Secure in orange. The walls were lined with whiteboards plastered with diagrams, charts of money flows, and sticky notes reading Case, Avalanche 2019 and Case, Lotus Leaf 2020. Sophia sat down and opened the orientation folder, handing Emily a white USB drive emblazoned with the FBI logo. "This is your IntelNet client installer," she explained. Plug it into the computer and follow the step-by-step instructions. Go ahead, double-click the Intel Net Installer icon in my computer, then click OK. Emily's fingers trembled slightly as she followed the instructions. Gradually, the screen filled with the secure login screen, showing a line of blue text, "Enter credentials." She looked up at Victor beside her. "Victor, which temporary username and password should I use?" she asked. Victor reached inside his vest and drew out a small blue envelope labeled Personal Credentials, Carter, E. He handed it to her. "Username, E. Carter. GVA. Password, Kate at 2025. Emily typed swiftly and said, "Done." The program shows the database interface. "I think I need to authenticate with an RSA token next." Victor smiled. "Exactly. Insert the USB token in the adjacent port, and the system will generate a one-time OTP. Enter the OTP and click Submit." A surge of green code flashed, and the screen switched to the case management system. Now Emily saw a list of cases awaiting analysis: case number 2024-11R, money laundering, case number 2025-08B, weapons smuggling, and case number 2023-05C, network intrusion. Emily exhaled in relief. "At last, I'm in." Her slight tremor gave way to bright confidence as she surveyed the data. Sophia spoke up, "Now, navigate to the Finance Intel section. All suspicious transaction data is sorted by date, source, and entity. Select Avalanche 2019 and open the Transaction Flow tab." Emily clicked, and a web of red and green lines appeared, connecting dubious bank accounts and showing suspicious transfer patterns. She focused intently and remarked, "It looks like they split funds into smaller amounts and funneled them through a network of shell companies." Sophia nodded approvingly. "Exactly. You need to trace the final node, often in a foreign currency account or converted to cryptocurrency for sale. Usually they employ multiple layers to erase traces. Your job is to distinguish legitimate accounts from fake ones." Emily leaned closer to the monitors, carefully memorizing each detail. "This is far more complex than ordinary banking. I can't afford any mistakes." Victor stepped forward and pointed to one account with a strange balance. "This case involves Alvarez Distilleries. We suspect Rodrigo Alvarez is laundering money from an illicit liquor operation destined for North America. Check the Documents tab for an AML, anti-money laundering, report. There's a PDF attached. Review it and note any red flags." Emily clicked the Documents tab and scrolled down to open the PDF. The report spanned 10 pages, listing transaction logs, compliance checklists, and customer due diligence forms. Many entries were marked red, signifying threshold breaches, such as a $250,000 transfer from a Swiss bank to the Cayman Islands in a single day. Emily narrowed her eyes and read carefully, then exclaimed, "This is why they suspect money laundering. That $250,000 transfer looks like layering. They broke it into smaller transfers, then likely funneled it into crypto." Sophia applauded softly, nodding vigorously. "Exactly. 50 points. You're quick to grasp it. Now save those notes, then switch to the Communication Log tab. There's a chat record between Alvarez and some contacts in Kazakhstan, with the code name Move Oil." Emily continued clicking, her face showing intense concentration as she took rapid notes. After about 20 minutes, Sophia interjected, "All right, this was an introductory exercise. Essentially, you'll work with us as a junior analyst, focusing on filtering financial data. Each day you'll send a summary report to Lucas by 16:30. He'll assign you more detailed tasks later." Emily nodded earnestly. "Understood. I'll do my best." Victor placed a hand on her shoulder, his demeanor friendly. "If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We're all here to help. Just be bold and speak up." Emily smiled brightly. Thank you so much. I'm so fortunate to have your support. After 2 hours of training, Emily had a better grasp of the IntelNet interface, the workflow, and security protocols. Sophia and Victor then guided her to the break room, a cozy space equipped with a refrigerator, snack cabinet, and cushioned sofas for staff to rest. In one corner stood a Lavazza coffee machine. As Emily prepared a vanilla latte, Victor asked, "Ms. Carter, what were your typical morning tasks at the bank?" Emily replied with a gentle smile, "At the commercial bank, I primarily used risk management software to monitor client portfolios. But I never worked with intelligence data. Instead, I have experience analyzing financial reports." Victor nodded approvingly. "Excellent. This role is truly different. You must not only analyze numbers but also understand the nuances of anti-money laundering laws. For example, knowing the importance of identifying a beneficial owner can be a key clue." Emily responded thoughtfully, "Yes, in commercial banking we classify clients under KYC, Know Your Customer. Generally, if a client is anonymous or linked to high-risk entities, we forward the file to the AML review team." Victor praised her. "Very good. You'll be well suited for this. During your first month, we'll assign you a secondary case, Trolley Co. 2023, a logistics conglomerate under suspicion. You'll be responsible for analyzing money flows and pinpointing critical nodes." Emily nodded, her eyes shining. "I will give it my all." After leaving the break room, Sophia escorted her back to the analysis room. There, a long pine desk sat near a window overlooking the lake shore, fully stocked with 2 monitors, a CPU, a keyboard, an internal phone, and a small library of specialized reference books. A few potted plants in the corners created a comforting atmosphere. Emily slid her bag onto the chair and settled in. Aiden stood at the doorway, observing his wife's reaction. He nodded approvingly. "Feeling more at home?" he asked gently. Emily turned and beamed. "Just seeing it for the first time, but I already like it. Thank you for giving me this chance." Aiden's heart swelled with happiness. "She's really stepped into my world now," he thought. Then, feigning playful jealousy, he teased, "But don't forget lunch. We still meet at 12:30. Emily laughed softly and nodded. "Yes, I remember." He squeezed her hand firmly. "I have to run some errands. This afternoon I'll leave early, and we'll have lunch at the cafe across the street. Will you be free?" Emily placed her hand in his and replied, "I'll be free. Don't worry." Aiden smiled, then turned and left the room. Emily watched his receding back down the hallway, her heart filled with a joy she could scarcely describe. "I am truly happy." At exactly 12:30, Emily walked out of the field office. She headed to La Belle Vie, a cafe directly opposite the entrance, just 50 meters away. The cafe's decor was classic French, exposed brick walls, white wrought iron trim, and rustic brown wooden tables and chairs. White lace curtains hung in the windows. The warm space always smelled of pastries and espresso. Aiden already sat at his usual table, by the glass window overlooking the lake. He wiped the froth off his cappuccino, then rose with a radiant smile when he saw his wife approach. "Have you eaten yet?" Emily asked softly as she slid into the seat. Aiden nodded. "I ordered for you already. What would you like?" Emily glanced at the menu: lobster in white wine, steak au fromage, mushroom risotto, mixed greens salad, and ciabatta bread. Finally, she decided, "I'll have the mushroom risotto and a vanilla latte, as usual." Aiden agreed, "Excellent choice. I'll have the Wagyu beef sandwich and fries. I'll eat quickly and return to work." They settled in and Emily inquired about his morning. "How was your morning? Were you tired?" Aiden placed down his salt dish and flashed a gentle smile. It was straightforward. "Did you familiarize yourself with IntelNet? Did you work on that case? Emily nodded. I worked on Trolley Co. 2023. I found several suspicious transactions, a €500,000 transfer from Trolley Co. to a company in the Cayman Islands. I couldn't draw conclusions yet, but I'll send Sophia a draft tonight. Aiden praised her softly. That's excellent. You're quicker than anticipated. I'm proud of you. Seeing the warmth in Aiden's eyes, Emily's cheeks flushed as she replied, I only followed Sophia and Victor's guidance. They chatted as they shared their lunch. In the background, soft jazz played, and a few student groups chatted in corners. But for Aiden and Emily, it felt as if they were alone, two hearts unified in tranquil peace. After lunch, Aiden walked Emily back to the field office. He kissed her hand in the lobby and then vanished into the lower floors. Emily returned to room 301, booted up her computer, and resumed work. Her fingers tapped methodically on the keyboard as she murmured to herself, a banking job feels so familiar. Now I'm doing intelligence-level financial analysis with FBI agents. Everything seems so surreal. During her first week, Emily's schedule remained busy, 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock in the analysis room, 12:30 lunch with her husband, then 13:30 to 16:30 completing reports for Lucas. Occasionally, Lucas called her into the war room for case discussions. Emily realized, they don't treat me as a mere visitor. They trust my analyses. One day, while examining transactions for Alvarez Distilleries, she identified a $1 million transfer into a frozen account, likely tied to a narcotics network. She flagged the detail to Sophia, who regarded her with approving eyes. You have a sharp eye. This will expedite our verification process. But be careful with every word, Alvarez will conceal tracks by any means. Emily perceived the seriousness in Sophia's gaze, tinged with an underlying anxiety. She asked herself, is this one of Aiden's major cases? Can I really be of help? Each evening when Emily returned to the villa, Aiden awaited her in the living room. He lit a lavender-scented candle and placed a warm glass of lemon water on the coffee table. He removed his tie, draped his jacket over a nearby chair, and then approached to give Emily a gentle kiss on her forehead. How was your day? Any difficulties at work? He asked softly. She set down her bag and smiled. Today I worked on the Alvarez case. I found the suspicious transfer. Sophia and Victor will investigate further. Aiden's eyes shone with pride. Very good. I believe in you. Would you like me to cook something? You should eat something light, then rest early. Tomorrow is another early start. Emily waved him off. No, thank you. I just want to hold you for a while. They sat together, whispering to each other. In the faint candlelight, Emily's face glowed with warmth, while Aiden seemed to shed the day's fatigue. They exchanged sweet smiles and for the first time felt their love, though newly kindled, deep enough to override every worry. However, life at the field office was not always rosy. One afternoon, Emily received an urgent call from Aiden. Where are you? Lucas just informed me that there's video footage of Alvarez trafficking cannabis from Northern Europe. Emily glanced at the MP4 file, logo stamped classified. Hesitant, she asked, he said it's a drug smuggling video. I'm not used to this. Please be patient with me. Aiden's voice remained calm. No problem. Watch it slowly, I'll guide you. Relax. Emily pressed play. The screen flickered to reveal a shipping container moving along a dockside. Nearby, a black delivery truck opened its cargo doors. Two men in leather jackets crouched low, their faces obscured by hoods. She could hear faint voices, 30 kilos. Check the manifest. $40 million. Through the blurred audio. Emily frowned, fear flickering in her eyes. Oh, Aiden. This is so dangerous. Aiden studied the image steadily, pointing things out on the screen. Yes, this is a key lead. We need to cross-check this evidence immediately. Note every detail. I'll call Lucas back for an emergency briefing." Emily inhaled deeply, her hands shaking as she jotted down timestamps. 15:45, May 12, 2025, location, Geneva North Port, the container identifier, WJS4901, and descriptions of the two men. She strove to remain calm, though her heart raced. "I never realized how dirty and ruthless the underworld could be. I thought I was just doing a financial assignment. This is far more intense." Moments later, Lucas, Sophia, and Victor rushed in to begin a heated discussion. Emily quietly took her place, her breaths coming fast. For the first time, she felt the thin line between legality and crime, trembling yet resolute. "I must do my job well so Aiden can worry less." In the days that followed, Emily gradually adapted to the pressure. Each evening when she arrived home, Aiden greeted her with a cup of warm ginger tea. He would take her hand and gently ask, "How was your day? Not too tiring, I hope?" Emily smiled, her eyes bright. "I'm fine. A bit shaken by the trafficking video. But having you by my side gives me strength." Aiden held her from behind, placing a light kiss on her neck. "Don't worry. I'll protect you. Whatever happens, we'll face it together." At that moment, Emily thought, our love, though just beginning, already seemed strong enough to weather any storm. But deep inside, she knew that behind every gentle embrace lay countless dangers waiting to strike. One late afternoon on a weekend, Emily and Aiden decided not to return directly to the villa but to enjoy coffee at Le Jardin Secret, a small café by the lakeshore about a 10-minute walk from the field office. The café was lush with greenery, white-painted wooden furniture, and fresh flower arrangements on each table. The gentle rustle of leaves and a faint jasmine scent filled the air. Emily wore a pastel-colored shift dress, her hair loosely curling, and opted for comfortable flats for the walk. Aiden dressed casually in a light blue cotton shirt and khaki chinos. As they strolled, they admired the tranquil lake, its surface shimmering in the late afternoon sun. Not every moment of life needs to be hectic. We deserve peace, Emily thought. At the cafe, they chose a table on the patio. Emily ordered 2 vanilla lattes, while Aiden opted for a caramel salt cappuccino. They also shared pink macaron, salted egg chiffon cake, and banana bread. Soft acoustic music played, occasional drum beats adding a gentle rhythm, leaving Emily feeling utterly at ease. She leaned against her husband's shoulder and said, "We need moments like these to remember why we fight and persevere." Aiden put his arm around her and whispered, "I never imagined I could be this happy." As the sunset painted the mountain peaks in flames of orange, they asked a passing group of 4 to take a commemorative photo, both smiling radiantly, holding hands, the pink sky's glow reflected on the lake behind them. Emily admired the photo on Aiden's phone, her heart soaring. "This captures our bond, between wealth and the hidden mission. I'll treasure it forever." They left the cafe as dusk settled, taking a taxi home. In the backseat, Emily turned to Aiden and asked, "Honey, I've been thinking about our future. After my month at the field office, could we take a vacation that has nothing to do with work?" Aiden squeezed her hand, eyes warm. "Of course. I also want us to get away. I'll plan a trip to Florence, an art lover's dream. Would you like that?" Emily closed her eyes in delight. "I would be so happy. You always know how to surprise me." Aiden smiled, though his eyes briefly clouded with seriousness. "But first, focus on finishing your month at the field office. There's more we need to resolve than you realize." When the taxi turned into the narrow lane before their villa, Emily took in the familiar view, rows of green willow trees, gray stone steps, and their small yacht drifting on the still water. Holding Aiden's hand, she closed her eyes and thought quietly, "This life we have is everything I ever dreamed of. With him by my side, I feel strong enough to face any challenge." Inside the warmly lit kitchen, she smelled the cooked vegetables Aiden had prepared earlier for her late-night soup. He greeted her with a gentle smile. "You made it back safely." Emily pressed a kiss to his cheek. "Thank you. Coming into this new world was scary, but with you by my side, everything seems manageable." Aiden stroked her hair and whispered, "I'll always be here for you." They gathered around the kitchen together, sipping the hearty vegetable soup as mellow acoustic music played softly from the speaker. Though an autumn chill seeped in from outside, and the FBI world still spun in hidden motions every moment, within these four walls the two of them found warmth and tranquility. When the lights went out, Emily curled into Aiden's arms and whispered, "Aiden. Thank you for this month. Thank you for believing in me." He brushed her hair from her forehead and planted a gentle kiss. "Thank you, too, for having the courage to step into my world. You give me more purpose." In the absolute stillness of night, their hearts beat as one. Slender rays of street light filtered through a crack in the curtains, glimmering across the wood floor. They sank into their dreams, smiles lingering on their lips, proof of the beautiful memories they had forged during this first month at the field office. And though dangers still lurked ahead, the spark of their love and the bond of trust they shared would light their path through even the darkest times. Dawn's mist had not yet lifted from the alpine ridges, drifting lightly over the surface of Lake Lemon. The sun peered above the mountain peaks, casting a faint pink glow across the layered clouds. Geneva was slowly awakening. Buses and cars glided over the cobblestone streets with a soft hum, horns beeping at intersections, blending with the birdsong echoing in the morning air. In the master bedroom on the second floor of the lakeside villa, Amelia Emily Carter had already risen well before dawn. Her alarm clock read 5:45 a.m., but she had woken when the pale pink light of sunrise filtered through the curtains. Outside the window, the lake lay a deep, tranquil blue, ripples barely disturbing its mirror-like surface. A solitary yacht bobbed gently at its mooring, waiting for the day's adventures on the clear water. Emily sat up, inhaled 4 deep breaths, and placed her hands over her chest to steady her heartbeat. A chill still lingered in the air, and mist cloaked the distant horizon. She told herself, "This is day 11 since I officially started at the field office. Today will be busy, but I must keep going. Aiden is handling an emergency, so I must manage on my own." She stepped into the bathroom and turned on the shower, letting the warm water cascade across her back, clearing her mind. The sound of water splashing against the pristine white tiles mingled with birdsong outside to form a simple morning symphony. After her shower, she wrapped herself in a soft towel, patted her hair dry, and opened her wardrobe to select the day's outfit. Today she chose another casual business ensemble per regulations: charcoal gray slacks, a lightweight white cotton blouse, and a fitted navy blazer, much like what she'd worn on her first day. This time, however, she prioritized comfort. The slacks sat high on her waist without feeling constricting, and the blouse was breathable cotton. She set aside the heels and instead slipped into beige ballet flats with cushioned soles. She grabbed her cream-colored leather satchel, tucked in her older laptop, her orientation documents, and a small notebook where she had recorded all relevant codes and passwords. Downstairs, the kitchen was already a bustle of activity. The Lavazza coffee machine still hummed from earlier, its rich aroma lingering in the air. Emily fired up the stove and brewed a vanilla latte. She took a sip, savoring the sweet cream as it awakened her senses. Aiden wasn't home yet. In his message last night he had written, "I'll be late. Eat breakfast without me, please leave a window slightly ajar so I can breathe some fresh air. I know you'll worry, but I need to wrap up a few things." She felt both anxious and reassured. They had dozens of secure communication channels between them, and she knew he would ensure she was safe. Still, a small emptiness touched her as she wasn't greeted by his presence this morning. She picked up her cutlery and sliced into the first piece of her breakfast sandwich, cheese and crispy bacon alongside a soft-boiled egg. It was just enough to fuel her for a long day in the blue zone. By around 6 a.m., Emily slipped out to the garage, fetched her helmet and the Tesla Model 3 electric sedan Aiden had lent her. The pristine white vehicle now served mainly to shuttle her between the villa and the field office. She started the car, its headlights glowing with a cool white beam, and cut through the pre-dawn calm. She drove along winding roads past verdant hills, then turned onto Boulevard Jean-Jacques Rousseau, which led directly to the FBI Geneva building. The sky grew lighter as she passed a few cycling students heading to school and vendors carrying baskets of freshly baked bread along the sidewalks. The city was fully awakening. Approaching the field office, Emily slowed the Tesla through the security gate. The guards gave her a respectful nod as facial recognition cameras scanned her. The automatic iron gate eased open, and overhead cameras scrutinized every angle of the entry. She parked in the visitor's spot and strolled down the concrete-lined corridor divided into multiple tiers. When she reached room 301, she brushed aside her hair and tapped her ID badge against the fingerprint reader. The frosted glass door slid open slowly. Inside, Agent Sophia Russo was already seated, reviewing documents. Sophia waved her over. "Good morning, E. How are you feeling today? Well rested?" Emily smiled and placed her helmet and keys on the table by the door. "I slept about 7 hours, thank you. Yesterday I had time to review the Trolley Co. 2023 case. I'll continue analyzing it today." Sophia nodded, her sharp eyes reflecting approval. "Excellent. Lucas called me this morning, he's convening an early briefing on the Alvarez case. You'll need to join the war room briefing at 8 o'clock. Please review all the Alvarez documents by 7:45. Is that okay?" Emily checked her watch, settled into a calm focus, and replied, "Absolutely. I already printed all the reports, now I just need to consolidate them." Sophia handed her 2 steaming cappuccinos, foam bubbling atop both cups. "Drink these, then dive in. As for lunch, you'll eat with Aiden after the briefing." Emily accepted a cup, the latte's creamy bitterness centering her. "Thank you, Sophia." At 7:45, Emily opened her packet of documents and flicked through the highlighted passages. Transaction of $1 million into a frozen account, the narco-trafficking video, the Move Oil communication log, each clue recast more vividly in her mind. She murmured to herself, "If this is the grape smuggling scandal, then I am right in the middle of a very dangerous strait. I must summarize this clearly and concisely for the meeting." At 8 o'clock, Emily stepped into conference room 403, the war room, where a giant LED screen dominated the front wall, displaying a detailed map of Geneva's container routes and trucking lanes. 4 scale models flanked the screen: 1. Canton Geneva Norport, 2. Outskirts Warehouse, 3. Eastern European Pharma Depot, 4. Money Laundering Network. Around the large conference table sat Agent Lucas Moore, leaning back in his chair and sipping black coffee, Agent Victor Petrov, standing with one hand on his hip, Agent Marcus Chen, his eyes glued to a laptop as he typed rapidly, and Ms. Carol Young, the senior receptionist coordinating the projector. When Emily entered, Lucas rose and motioned her toward the screen. He offered a curt smile. "Good morning, Carter. Thank you for arriving on time. I understand Sophia has already introduced you and your morning report." Emily set her binder on the table. "Yes, I've prepared a summary. I'll present it now." Lucas pointed to the map on the LED screen. "First, show us the transaction report. On slide 2, you've separated primary transactions from covert ones. Highlight in yellow any amounts that exceeded thresholds." Emily clicked her remote and advanced the slide. Now the screen displayed a table with columns labeled account number, bank name, transaction date, amount, USD, and destination. The top row, highlighted in yellow, read, account WJS 4901, Cayman Islands, $1 million, May 15, 2025, Money Wire Bank. The next row, account CHP 1123, Geneva, $500,000, Scotiabank. The source column read Alvarez Distilleries LLC. I highlighted in yellow all transactions exceeding $250,000. Those are highly suspicious. It appears Alvarez uses two main banks, Money Wire, which conceals anonymous accounts, and Scotiabank for smaller transfers, Emily explained in a steady voice. Lucas nodded, his gaze showing satisfaction. Well done. You've demonstrated their layering and integration tactics. Now switch to the co-conspirators tab. The screen shifted to a chart listing known associates: Rodrigo Alvarez, Ivan Kirov, arrested in 2024, and Diego Ramirez, a money launderer for Eastern European gangs. A new entry read Natalie Korlov, marked unverified, possibly an alias. Emily continued, according to updated intelligence, we discovered that Natalie Korlov's account, registered in Lithuania, received $150,000 from Alvarez on April 20, 2025. I suspect this is an alias for another foreign facilitator who may be distributing cocaine. However, we lack concrete proof of Korlov's actual address. Victor raised an eyebrow and stepped forward. Precisely. You must locate Korlov's smaller transfers and trace the IP address. Marcus, can you coordinate with IT to trace that IP? Marcus nodded and continued typing energetically. On it. I'll have the tracker display on the map momentarily. On the big screen, a complex web of red and green lines lit up, connecting accounts in Geneva, the Cayman Islands, and Lithuania to networks in the Middle East. Tiny blinking markers indicated money in transit. Lucas angled his neck to better view the chart. See the connection between Alvarez and Korlov? They're routing funds through the Adriatic to avoid European oversight. Focus on verifying Korlov's identity, then track subsequent hidden money flows. Concerning the trafficking video, Aiden will handle that analysis. Ms. Carter, you only need to support the financial analysis. Emily nodded, determination burning in her eyes. Understood. I'll get started right away. Lucas scanned the room. Any additions? Comments? Sophia raised her hand. I suggest we triangulate with port authorities and the trafficking footage. The port investigation team may uncover container serial numbers or even DNA traces. If we cross-reference those data points, we could identify the real transporter. Lucas's face lit with approval. Good idea. Reach out to the port police and demand expedited files. Swan Mai, our liaison to Geneva law enforcement, will assist you. Emily jotted down notes, conscience alight. I stand amid codes, transactions, complex networks. Each clue could represent an actual life. I want to contribute as much as I can. At 8:45, the war room session concluded. Lucas tossed his marker into the whiteboard tray and offered a small smile. Excellent work today, Carter. I'll forward this to the strategic division immediately. You may head home early, there's more to do tomorrow. Also, remember lunch is at 12:50. Afterward, Aiden has to depart for an urgent assignment. You'll stay on site to finish up any outstanding tasks. Keep me posted. Emily replied, Yes, sir. I'll work through lunch if necessary. Understood. She stepped out of the conference room and returned to the analysis room, just steps away. The space was primed for her, a Dell Precision workstation with a dual monitor setup, stacks of printed reports, and a freshly poured cup of coffee. Sliding into the leather chair, she booted the computer and logged in. The Intel Net interface appeared instantly. On her desktop, the Project Alvarez icon stood front and center. She double-clicked it and accessed the data extraction module. Half an hour passed without distraction. Emily scrutinized her preliminary draft report against the raw data. Her eyes never blinked as the fluorescent lights overhead reflected off slight beads of sweat on her brow. She whispered to herself, "So, account CHB 1123 cent $500,000 on May 10th, clearly the seed money for the smuggling deal. Now, if I examine the 0420 transaction for Korlov. Was it account 786,543? Or 786,542? Must get the number just right." She clicked quickly, compiling dozens of suspicious transactions into a CSV export. While waiting for the file to generate, her gaze drifted to a small photograph on her desk, Aiden and her at La Belle Vie Café. That image steadied her resolve. I must live up to his sacrifice. If he faces consequences, I can't have any regrets. At 12:15, Emily saved her file, exhaled in relief, and shut the laptop. She stretched and rose to fetch a cup of hot water in the break room, but an instinct prickled her skin. The break room door was closed and the lights were off. Normally at around 5 p.m., one or two colleagues would be in there, having tea or a quick snack. Curiosity prickled her. Are they in an emergency meeting? Has something urgent come up? She quietly slipped past, walking down a different hallway until she reached the parking area. Fortunately, she had carpooled with two agents earlier, so she didn't have to wait. She simply opened the car door and headed out toward the villa. On her drive home, a fresh wave of worry washed over her. Why was the break room dark? Could they be holding an unplanned meeting? Or did something critical happen? When she reached the villa, Emily wiped the raindrops from her coat and turned on the electric kettle. The living room was still and quiet. The Santorini sunset painting remained suspended on the wall, its pastel hues glowing softly under the warm lights. She placed her cup of hot water on the coffee table and sat down on the sofa, closing her eyes to savor a moment of calm. Luckily, Aiden called me earlier, said he would be late. I don't have to sit here worrying. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, jarring her from her thoughts. She lifted her brows, startled. As she hurried down the hallway and opened the front door, she found housekeeper Amelia standing there with a small tray. "I'm sorry to bother you, Miss Carter," Amelia said. "I'm here to drop off your dinner from Le Jardin Secret, as requested. You don't need to worry." Emily exhaled and offered a relieved smile. "Thank you very much. That's all perfect." Amelia nodded and quietly closed the door behind her, leaving Emily alone in the silent living room. A chill settled in Emily's chest. They delivered dinner despite the rain. The field office has been so busy these past few days. All I want tonight is a simple meal. On a low shelf, a few psychology books were scattered alongside a framed photo of Emily and Aiden at La Belle Vie. She lifted the picture and gazed at it. In that snapshot, they smiled brightly at each other, their eyes brimming with tenderness. She whispered to herself, "Aiden, I wish you were here to ease my anxious mind." Putting the photo down, Emily tiptoed into the kitchen to warm her dinner tray: velvety butternut squash soup, a fresh fruit salad, and a small flourish of garlic butter toasted bread. She carried the tray back to the living room and set it on the coffee table. The soft golden light cast long shadows along the walls, giving the space a hushed, almost eerie calm. "I need to sleep early to be punctual at the office tomorrow. But right now, my heart won't let me rest. There's so much churning inside." She took a hearty spoonful of soup, letting the sweet warmth spread across her tongue. Outside, the rain drummed a gentle rhythm on the windows. Emily closed her eyes, letting the steam's comfort soothe her. "If I let fear overtake me, I'll falter amid these numbers and tasks. I must stay strong." Suddenly, the living room lights dimmed as the front door swung open. Aiden Sinclair appeared in the doorway, his white shirt rumpled from a long day, black slacks creased with wear, and a black leather messenger bag slung over his shoulder. He paused, breathing a soft sigh, and stepped inside. "You were still up?" he asked quietly. Emily looked up, offering a tired but warm smile. "I just finished eating. You're home." Aiden nodded and draped his jacket over a hook by the door. He approached her and sat down. His gaze took in the dinner tray. "You ate dinner alone tonight? I could have ordered something for you." Emily shook her head, her eyes glowed with affection. "I wanted to keep you from worrying about the little things. I'm okay. You eat first." Aiden went still, worry flickering at the corners of his eyes. "Emily, I know I've been busy all day, but I need to tell you something." Emily caught his gaze and leaned in, listening intently. Aiden's face showed deep fatigue, dark circles under his eyes, his mouth pressed into a firm line, eyes clouded with unease. She clutched his hand gently and exhaled, "Just tell me. I'm here." Aiden drew in a long breath, his voice catching as he spoke. "Today, after tracking the crypto transactions, Lucas developed a new hypothesis. Alvarez is backed by another organization, the BlackEagle based in Serbia. They've recruited more suspected operatives to assist. It seems they intend to use Alvarez as a bargaining chip, sending misinformation to the police. Understand?" Emily's eyes widened as she processed the news. "The BlackEagle. I've only read about them in case files, but I don't know the details. Could they turn their attention to me?" Aiden nodded solemnly. "It's possible. Our intel hasn't positively identified you. But if Alvarez panics, he might spread sensational rumors that pull you into the crosshairs. You know you're still inexperienced in criminal intelligence. I'm concerned this global conspiracy could threaten you." Emily's shoulders trembled as she said, I will try my best. But please don't worry about me." Aiden stroked her hair, voice thick with emotion. "I'm moving you into a joint operation with Interpol for now. You won't have to remain in the war room constantly. But I still want you at the field office until this case is resolved. I promise to keep you safe." Emily exhaled deeply and offered a faint smile. "Thank you. I'll follow instructions." They sat in silence for a moment, gazing at the curling steam rising from her chamomile tea. The warmth and sweet scent seemed to soften the weight of the world. "Can you tell me more about this BlackEagle?" she asked softly. Aiden squeezed her hand gently. "They're linked to Volkov's network, a criminal alliance specializing in weapons trafficking, narcotics, and cyberattacks. Today, the Geneva police discovered a BlackEagle cell transporting suspected weapons to an eastern warehouse. I have to leave immediately." Emily's eyes welled with tears, her heart tightening. "You have to go now?" Aiden nodded, pulling her into a tender embrace. "Yes. Please lock all the doors and stay vigilant. If anything unusual happens, call Lucas or Sophia right away. I can only promise I will return." She blinked back tears and nodded. "I understand." He pressed his forehead gently to hers and placed a soft kiss on her skin. "I love you. Take care of yourself." She whispered, "I love you, too." Aiden leaned in and kissed her forehead once more before stepping out of the room. In the hallway's cool fluorescent glow, the lights flickered at intervals, as if signaling the turbulent days ahead. Emily pressed her back against the closed door, inhaled a shuddering breath, and tried to steady herself. Once the door clicked shut, Emily sank onto the sofa. The rain battered the windows in a relentless patter. The living room light was dim, almost lonely. She cradled her hot tea, her hands trembling. Each breath carried mounting anxiety. Aiden has gone, leaving me here with so many tasks and a whole criminal underworld. I don't know if I'm strong enough. In the hush, Emily chided herself, "Stay calm. He believes in me, my colleagues believe in me. I have to be strong." She rose, fetched the soft blanket draped over the sofa, wrapped it around herself, and climbed the stairs to their bedroom. Outside, The rain tapered off, leaving only the whisper of wind through the shutters. Emily lay face first into her pillow, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. She murmured a quiet prayer. Please keep Aiden safe. Please keep those criminals away from me. Let nature's energy, the sky and the lake, give me the strength to endure. As midnight edged closer, the villa fell into silence. Emily closed her eyes and tried to summon sleep. Through the slightly open window, she saw clear night skies and the first stars twinkling above the willows. In that moment, she hoped the heavens would shield her from every danger. I must sleep now. Tomorrow is a new battle. And so, Emily Carter, a banker's bride who had once lived a calm life by the lake, found herself descending into the secretive blue zone. In her heart, her love and faith in Aiden still burned brightly. But no matter how peaceful the night, the darkness beyond the window promised untold dangers yet to come. Rain had been drizzling since last night, and it showed no sign of stopping this morning. Tiny droplets rippled across the surface of Lake Lemon, turning the water into a silvery expanse flecked with sparkle. Geneva lay shrouded in a thin mist, the damp fog clinging to willow leaves as it caught the faint yellow glow of streetlights. Even the normally soft tinkle of taxi bells seemed muted, echoing vaguely through the chilly air. Inside the lakeside villa, Amelia Emily Carter awoke after a long night of contemplation. She opened her eyes and peered through a narrow gap in the curtains. Rain pattered relentlessly, and the lake lay mirror still below. On the nightstand beside her, her phone screen glowed with a message from Aiden, sent late last night. Sleep well, Em. I'm on an urgent assignment in the outskirts. I'll be back very late tonight. Please be extra careful. Love you. Her skin warmed as she read his last words. But before comfort could settle, worry surged through her. Why did he have to rush off so suddenly? Is this assignment more serious than I realize? In this downpour, I'll have to drive myself to the field office today. She sat up, feeling the thick comforter's reassuring weight behind her. The lighter blanket lay askew beneath it. She gently touched the framed photo of the two of them sitting at La Belle-Vie, still resting on its shelf, then slipped out of bed, put on her slippers, and headed to the bathroom. The bathroom's white tiles gleamed under the gentle roar of the shower. She turned on warm water, letting it awaken her senses, mixing with the distant patter of rain outside the window to form a simple symphony. As the warmth enveloped her shoulders, her tense expression softened. Every raindrop that met her skin felt like a reminder, stay strong. After toweling off, Emily moved deliberately through her wardrobe. Today she chose a cream silk blouse, charcoal gray slacks, and a camel-colored water-resistant trench coat, neatly tailored, protective against the rain. She wrapped a thin wool scarf around her neck and exchanged her flats for non-slip ballet slippers. She lifted her beige handbag from the counter, then paused to trace the pale pink lipstick left on her lips from yesterday, thinking, there's no one to rely on today, I must hold myself together. By 6 a.m., Aiden's Tesla Model 3 still waited under the carport. Emily opened the door and felt a gust of wind. Heavy rain streamed down the windshield, but the electric engine hummed steadily as she turned it on. She activated the wipers, watching the wet road ahead. The villa receded behind her as she passed through the iron gate, its warm glow in the rain seeming to cradle her small flicker of hope. Aiden will return safely. Geneva's streets were quiet this early, only a few intercity buses moved toward the center. In the Tesla, Emily drove past the angel toy winter sculpture and the steeple of St. Pierre's Church, shrouded in mist. She turned onto Rue Mont Blanc, then onto Boulevard Jean-Jacques Rousseau toward the FBI building. Rain beat down in sheets, drenching every contour of the car, making the road slick. As she neared the gate, the security cameras recognized her, and the frosted glass doors slid open. Inside the reception area, fluorescent lights blazed white and bright. Receptionist Ms. Caroline Young appeared, handing Emily a steaming cup of coffee and presenting her with a restricted access card labeled a Carter. GDA with her photo. Emily smiled and accepted. Thank you. The lobby was quiet, a three-dimensional FBI emblem mounted prominently on one wall. A corridor led to level 3, the blue zone, waiting silently to welcome her. By 7:15, Emily sat at her workstation in the analysis room, 2 LED monitors ahead of her. The black leather swivel chair moved smoothly as she settled in, logging into the secure system. Down the hallway, the sound of hurried footsteps grew as colleagues prepared for the day's urgent briefing. Just as she pressed enter, the door opened to admit Agent Lucas Moore, a tired smile on his face. Good morning, Carter. Have you retrieved the IP data for that crypto address? Emily straightened, quickly clicking through her files. Yes, sir. I traced yesterday's 3FCBG address. They used a Latvian proxy from Riga. Their VPS IPs on May 14th and 15th came through Wired Pro Solutions. I've extracted all the necessary details. Lucas nodded, his expression tight. Good. But this case is still far from certain. In yesterday's call with Interpol, Giles, the British agent, provided similar transaction data. Please prepare the combined dataset for us as soon as possible. Lucas handed her a stack of papers. Interpol's files include the crypto transaction logs, internal exchange emails, and location-based IP addresses. Compare them with our own data and confirm anything by 10 o'clock. Understood? Emily met his eyes and nodded. Yes, sir. I'll start right away. She immediately plugged in Interpol's Excel file and opened it alongside her Intel Net display. The various numbers, timestamps, and addresses flickered across her 2 screens under cold white light. Moments later, Agent Viktor Petrov appeared, his voice crisp. Carter, Marcus and I just scanned more Bitcoin node data. They shifted from Riga to Stockholm, then to a Billund, Denmark hosting server. Focus on tracking that 100 BTC transfer on May 16 through the Billund host. Emily's eyes widened as she frowned. On it. Victor nodded. If that's correct, we must block them there. Lucas, have Giles confirm that Billund server location with Interpol. Consider it done, Lucas replied. Carter, I trust you'll have results by the next meeting. With that, Lucas and Victor departed, leaving Emily and a flurry of data on her screens. In the half hour that followed, Emily hunched over her keyboards, eyes fixated on rows of cascading Excel data. The rain outside beat a steady rhythm against the window, almost like a call to hurry. They are about to move the funds. She reminded herself, I cannot afford a single misstep. Her heart pounded as she filtered through the blockchain records to highlight only those transfers involving Billund, Stockholm, and Riga. Suddenly, 3 lines emerged on her screen. A 100 BTC transfer on May 16 at 4:22 a.m. from the Billund server. Each piece of the puzzle, timestamp, host address, amount, shown clearly. She marked it in red. This is the final Billund intermediary. After saving her work, she dashed down the hallway to the war room. At 8:50, the war room doors swung open to reveal the LED screen displaying crypto flow, Billund node. Lucas, Sophia, Victor, and Marcus clustered around, their faces tense. Emily approached, laying her report on the table. Lucas looked up. Carter, what did you find? Taking a deep breath, she pointed to the map on the LED. With just 3 key transactions, I can confirm that Alvarez, working with BlackEagle, transferred 100 BTC through Billund on May 16 at 4:22 a.m. Then they funneled 700 BTC from Bitch. Finally, all of it ended at Serbia Central Exchange by 5:10 p.m. I've logged every transaction hash for tracking. Victor narrowed his eyes and approached the map. They moved from Billund to Stockholm to Riga in 30 minutes, remarkably fast, using a mixing service to cover their tracks. From here, they must have sold at the Serbian exchange. Do you have the full data? Emily nodded. I've archived the transactions. But to gain access to the Belund logs, we need an immediate court order. We can't afford to lose that data. Lucas's voice hardened. Understood. We'll push Interpol for urgent permission. If we can get those logs before they delete them, we might still have a chance. Sophia picked up her phone and dialed. Interpol London, Giles here. Giles, can you expedite the Belund server logs? We need them right away. Emily held her breath. After a few tense seconds, Giles's voice came through. We'll push for it. The data should be available by late morning. Keep me posted. Sophia hung up and addressed the room. We have about 4 hours to cross-reference and identify those final transaction chains. Carter, you handle the core analysis. Victor and Marcus will manage server tasks. Let's reconvene at 8 p.m. to review. Lucas turned to her. Carter, looks like you'll be working straight through lunch again. Emily managed a wry smile. Yes, sir. I'll stay on it. At 5:15 p.m., the war room had emptied, and Emily returned to the analysis room, pouring another cup of coffee to shake off the damp chill outside. The blockchain flow diagram still danced across her screens in lines of colorful code. She winced as thirst and exhaustion crept in, the rain drummed steadily against the glass. If I don't block them here, that money will vanish, and Aiden will be in danger. I can't let that happen. She sketched a quick flowchart on a page of A4 paper. Alvarez Distilleries Money Wire Bank, Geneva Binance Bitch Belund VPS Stockholm VPS Riga Serbia Central Exchange. Each arrow she colored red, annotating the BTC amounts. She studied it. It all seems hopelessly entangled. If the court order isn't fast enough, Aiden and the rest of us will face dire fallout. Returning to her computer, she opened IntelNet and cross-checked her older CSV exports against the newly delivered data. Victor was simultaneously pinging the Belund VPS from Stockholm to see if the host was still live, while Marcus ran code to isolate log files. Sophia debated internally whether to deploy AI tools for faster analysis. Emily typed into their secure group chat. Belund node active at 1705, still on the same IP range. We can still stop it if we act now. Moments later, Marcus replied. Node is active. IP is 185.199.108.17. I'm running HTTP requests to find open ports. Emily nodded, then typed. Thanks, Marcus. The only open port is 993, IMAP. We might exploit mail protocols to extract detailed logs. They worked feverishly. The data maze, Bitcoin, IPs, servers, enveloped Emily like a fortress. She slumped over her desk more than once, fingers trembling as she typed. Cup after cup of coffee emptied, its acrid taste lingering in her throat. By 4:30 p.m., Geneva's final sunset glow had faded, leaving the sky a muted purple. The analysis room's fluorescent lights cast stark clarity around her, rows of code and mining tools on her screen. Because the office's power was still limited, the only working lights were those absolutely necessary, pointing to her unwavering dedication. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. Lucas wanted an emergency meeting at 4:45. Instantly she saved her files, sanitized her hands with sanitizer, donned a medical mask, and hurried across to the war room. Inside, Lucas, Sophia, Victor, and Marcus gathered. Lucas eyed her gravely. Did you get something? Emily exhaled shakily and placed her documents on the table. Yes. I confirmed that Belund node remained active until 5:05 p.m., then dropped. The initial 100 BTC arrived at Belund at 4:22 a.m. Afterwards, 700 BTC came from Bitch, and they sold 500 BTC through Mixcoin before midnight. The final 200 BTC moved out of view, likely into another anonymous wallet. We only have logs up to 5 p.m. from Interpol. They erased the last 5 minutes of logs at 5:05 p.m. Victor's jaw tightened. That means they wiped logs right when they needed to. Any IP data for that window? Emily's eyes stung as she whispered, I found a fuzzy entry. IP range changed from 185.45.21.76 to 185.45.21.79 around 5:02 p.m., possibly shifting subdomains to continue operations. Lucas touched his secure earpiece. Marcus, ping 185.45.21.79, see if it's active. Marcus responded, pinging now. Port 993 is closed. Only ICMP pings respond. That means the server is listening but has no active services. Sophia frowned. They've locked down the server. No logs available. We can't trace their transactions past 5:05. Lucas shook his head. They rotated IP just in time. BlackEagle's tactics are cunning. But we have Giles and Interpol pushing to preserve the Belund snapshot. Carter, coordinate with Giles to secure any logs from 5:05 to 5:15. Emily nodded, swallowing hard. I'll reach out to Gordon in Interpol and get the Serbia contact. We can rebuild the chain from there. Lucas allowed a small smile. Excellent. Let's not give up. He then turned to Victor. Line up Gordon and coordinate with Belund's hosting provider for that data. We need it as soon as possible. Victor nodded, eyes steel cold. We'll move fast. By 5:15 p.m., everyone else had cleared out of the analysis room. Lucas retreated to his private office, Victor stowed the USB drive in a secure safe, and Sophia devoured the last of her quick lunch while Marcus shut down his laptop. Only Emily remained, hunched over her screen, sifting through the Belund logs. On her laptop, terminal windows scrolled blocks of hex code, transaction IDs, script sig and script pub key data, each line a barrier to unravel. The rain tapped insistently on the windows, amplifying her anxiety. She typed commands in the terminal to isolate the Belund block logs. Then Lucas summoned her again, a 7:45 p.m. meeting. Frantically, she saved her work, secured her hands, and donned her mask once more before treading across to the war room. Lucas, Sophia, Victor, and Marcus waited under the dim red emergency lighting. Lucas peered at her, concern etched in his eyes. Carter, any progress? Emily took a deep breath and began summarizing what she'd found. The Belund node remained active until 5:05 p.m. but with decreasing traffic. From 4:22 to 5 p.m., 100 BTC arrived, then, early morning, another 700 BTC from Bitch funneled in. By 5:10 p.m., all 1,000 BTC had passed through and arrived at a Serbian exchange. We caught 500 BTC, but 500 slipped through. The logs we retrieved go only up to 5 p.m., so we're missing the final 5 minutes. Victor ground his teeth. They deleted logs after 5:05. Do you have any remaining IP traces? Emily's voice wavered. I have 2 IPs, 185.45.21.79 and 185.199.108.17, both within the same range. They used them to reroute transactions from 5:02 to 5:05. That leaves me with no direct logs of the last 200 BTC. Lucas pressed a hand to his forehead. Too late. They changed IP just in time. But Interpol can provide additional snapshots. We have to request those from Belund immediately. Carter, you can lead that. Emily blinked back tears of frustration. Yes, sir. I'll coordinate with Gordon in Interpol London for Serbia side data and get any possible logs from Belund. Lucas placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You've done your best. Next, we pivot to Serbia. If they've already sold the BTC there, we track that chain. We cannot lose them now. Emily nodded, steeling herself. Understood. At 9 p.m., after they wrapped up their discussion, everyone but Emily dispersed. She needed to finalize a report on the remaining 30 BTC that had ended up in Serbia. Her laptop glowed like a beacon in the dim analysis room. Outside, persistent rain and gloom settled over the city. She ran the final Python scripts that would cluster analyze those 30 BTC addresses, hoping to reveal ties back to Natalie Korolov. The door creaked open and Aiden Sinclair entered. Despite exhaustion and the rigors of yesterday's Serbia assignment, he looked remarkably fresh, crisp white shirt, loosely knotted tie, and well-pressed vest over his arm. His tall frame radiated calm confidence. Emily leapt up and rushed into his arms. "You're back," she whispered, relief washing over her. He hugged her fiercely. "I read your report from last night. You did amazing work. It's not done yet, but we've got a solid lead. I'm so proud of you." They stood together in the analysis room's half-lit hush, colleagues pausing to watch with quiet admiration. Aiden reached up to brush her hair away and kissed her forehead. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you last night," he murmured. "But I'm here now." Emily lifted her tear-bright eyes to his. "I worried so much. But having you here makes me feel safe." At that moment, Lucas entered holding a printed report. "Good to see you, Mr. Sinclair. I'm Lucas. Emily and I have some notes for you. After this meeting, we'll finalize the plan." Aiden nodded. "Nice to meet you, Lucas. I'm ready to help however I can." Lucas smiled. "We're a team here. Emily's been invaluable this week. I look forward to working with both of you." With that, Lucas and Victor left, giving the couple a moment alone. Aiden turned to Emily and kissed her softly. "You've borne so much worry for me," he whispered. "I'll never take that for granted. Now that I'm back, let's see this through together." Emily returned his kiss, tears of gratitude welling in her eyes. "I love you. Yesterday I stopped 500 BTC. I set up Korolov's profile. Even when the hackers struck, I knew we'd prevail." Aiden held her tight. "You're incredible. No matter how dark this world gets, we face it side by side." Later that afternoon, Emily and Aiden reconvened all four in the war room to outline next steps, coordinate with Interpol and Serbian authorities, involve Swiss cybercrime units, and establish an on-the-ground task force in Belgrade. Emily would finalize the blockchain analysis of the remaining 30 BTC, tracing them to their ultimate destinations. Aiden would depart for Belgrade the next morning, officially under the guise of Sinclair Global CFO but in truth to collaborate closely with Interpol Serbian. Sofia would spearhead restoring and securing their internal data systems. Marcus would conduct a comprehensive security audit to prevent future breaches. As they hashed out the plan, Emily sketched the final blockchain route in red pen on a sheet of paper, the Lund Stockholm Riga Serbia Central Exchange. Each step underscored their resolve. Aiden gripped her hand and whispered, "Carter, this is crucial work. Rest now, but tonight you'll join me in Belgrade. You need to see everything firsthand." Emily nodded, looking up at him with quiet determination. "I'm ready. We'll do this together." By 9 p.m., the war room had emptied. Emily returned to her analysis room to check her secure email. In her inbox was an attachment from Giles, Belgrade operation plan, complete with GPS coordinates of locations associated with Korolov. She immediately began mapping those coordinates to the 30 BTC addresses still outstanding. Lines of code scrolled across her screen as she executed chain analysis, each step demanding her utmost focus. Her shoulders ached, and exhaustion tugged at her eyelids as the rain continued its relentless lashing outside. Then her phone buzzed gently with a message from Aiden. "Carter, your flight is booked for tonight. Meet me at the base at 11:30 p.m. Sleep there and be ready for our 7 a.m. departure to Belgrade. I'll be waiting." Despite her racing heart, she calmly assured herself, "I have to do this. I have to be with him." She began packing a small suitcase, placing her passport in an inner pocket of her coat. Then she messaged Sophia. "I'll fly out tonight. Aiden's team wants me directly in Belgrade. I'll sign off from the field office for the early week. Please arrange my ticket and meeting point." Sophia's reply arrived almost instantly. "Understood, Carter. Your ticket is booked. Meet at room 102 in Terminal 1 at Geneva Airport at 10:45 p.m. This is critical, but we can do it." By midnight, Emily quietly slipped out of the analysis room. The entire space was still except for a faint hum from a ventilation fan. She nodded at Patrick Lewis, the guard stationed at the end of the corridor. "I'm heading out for a flight," she said softly. "Stay safe, Carter," Patrick replied, concern in his voice. She wheeled her suitcase down the staircase, guided only by the faint green glow of the exit signs. Outside, a thin mist clung to the night as she placed her bag in the Tesla's trunk. The security panel still glowed red, indicating restricted access, but she swiped her thumbprint, the iron gate slid open, and she slipped out into the darkness. As Emily Carter departed the FBI's blue zone in the icy, driving rain, she carried with her a fierce determination to halt the flow of illicit funds. Yet in that very moment, she also stepped deeper into the hidden web of criminal conspiracy. The cold, silent night seemed ready to swallow her whole, but for love and the unwavering belief in justice, she pressed onward into that encroaching darkness. The faint yellow lights of Geneva Airport's Terminal 1 waited amid the damp night mist as Emily Carter reached out to wipe the condensation from the automatic doors. It was only 10:30 p.m., but the terminal was already quiet, with just a handful of late-night travelers scattered around, and a few steely-faced staff wearing headsets moving through the sparse crowd. Clutching her small beige suitcase, passport, and a boarding pass stamped Belgrade 7 a.m., she gazed into the gray skies beyond. The metallic FBI emblem pinned to her jacket shimmered under the fluorescent lights, a constant reminder that this was no ordinary trip, it was a calculated deep strike into hostile territory. Behind her, Agent Sophia Russo approached in her dark navy trench coat, a small crossbody bag at her side. Her voice was low. "Are you all set, Carter? Everything packed?" Emily offered a tight smile, her eyes still fixed on the boarding pass. "I'm fine. Interpol Serbia arranged the hotel and transport. Aiden texted that he'll meet me on the ground." Sophia nodded and gave her a gentle pat on the shoulder. "Good. I won't return to Geneva until I hear from you. Things are steadier there now. I'll stay with a friend until you're back." Emily's smile faded to pensive calm. "Thank you. I can manage on my own here. Though I'm still a bit anxious." Sophia handed her a small envelope. "This is a letter from Aiden. He wrote it this morning. Keep it with you. In Belgrade, I've already contacted some local colleagues, they'll keep you safe. Focus on the mission, try not to worry too much." Emily slipped the envelope into her jacket pocket, glancing at the delicate script, "To E. Carter, love, A." She allowed herself a soft smile. "He's so thoughtful." Sophia gave her one last encouraging pat, then turned and walked away. "Be at the gate by 10:45. They leave right on time." Alone, Emily drew a deep breath. Her heart pounded as she rehearsed every step. Under the dim lights, the terminal felt ominous, as if bracing for the storm ahead. She opened the envelope and read Aiden's letter. "My dearest M. A few hurried lines before you depart. Belgrade won't be a safe haven, but you can trust me with all my heart. Every move is prearranged. I've coordinated with Interpol Serbia. They'll send Milena Kovacevic to pick you up at the airport and take you to safe house number 2, about 15 minutes from the city center. Take care at every turn in Belgrade, especially when you approach suspicious locations. Remember to keep your phone locked, only use it within secure zones. Switch to flight mode until you're certain it's safe. Know that my thoughts and heart are with you, even though I'm halfway across the globe. With all my love, A. Folding the letter, Emily placed it close to her heart. She tucked her passport and boarding pass into her jacket's inner pocket, adjusted the knot of her silk scarf, and headed toward the security checkpoint. The Air Serbia night flight departed right on schedule at 11 p.m. Emily settled into seat 12A by the window. The cabin lights glowed warmly over half-asleep passengers, some dozing with heads lolling, others intently typing on laptops. She flipped through the Inside Serbia briefing from Interpol, maps of Belgrade, emergency hotlines, secure Wi-Fi credentials, and the address of her temporary safe house. She folded the pamphlet and stowed it in the overhead bin. As soon as fasten seatbelt signs switched off, Emily felt the reassuring hug of the seat behind her. The engine hummed, and through the window, she watched Geneva Airport's lights dip below the cloud layer. Once airborne, everything outside became a black void, save for the cabin lights that glowed like fireflies. Later, a flight attendant passed her a good night kit, a small bag containing a toothbrush, toothpaste, sleep mask, and earplugs. Emily thanked her, donned the mask, and attempted to rest. The Airbus touched down at Belgrade's Nikola Tesla Airport at precisely 6:45 a.m. Through the window, the thick gray mist over Serbia barely let any shape through. She unbuckled, gathered her belongings, and shuffled down the exit ramp, the scent of jet fuel mingling with a faint aroma of brewed coffee. Stepping off into the terminal, she felt the chill of early morning Serbia. At immigration, an officer glanced at her passport, where her Interpol-assisted fast-track visa had a small annotation, warning, assignment, FBI Intel Liaison. Emily steeled herself, knowing she must conceal her full identity. She approached the customs officer with calm confidence. Local emergency assignment, sir, Interpol operation. The officer typed briefly, then nodded. Welcome to Belgrade. Please collect your luggage and proceed. Have a safe stay. Passing through the gate, she spotted Agent Milena Kovacevic, FBI's liaison with Interpol Serbia, waiting just beyond the exit. Milena, about 34 with crisp features and her hair pinned neatly, wore a light gray trench coat and carried a sleek black leather bag. Her expression was both stern and reassuring. You must be Carter, Milena said, extending a hand. Good to finally meet you. Emily shook her hand. Thank you for meeting me. You're welcome, Milena replied. We have a vehicle ready. You can grab coffee or juice inside, but be cautious speaking in public. Once you're in, switch your phone to secure mode. Emily nodded. They exited the terminal into the drizzle. A black VW transporter waited, its tinted windows offering privacy. A driver helped Emily stow her suitcase in the rear cargo area. Inside, Milena closed the door, the engine rumbled to life. Milena offered a reassuring smile. We'll take about 40 minutes to reach central Belgrade, Vučova Street number 14. That's safe house number 2, under Interpol Serbia's protection. Stay alert, and follow instructions exactly. Emily peered out at the gray, wet buildings and slick roads. Thank you for arranging everything. I admit. I'm excited but also a bit nervous. Milena nodded. We all are. Serbia can be unpredictable, especially with BlackEagle's network still active. Just remember to layer up, the drizzle makes it chilly. Emily tugged at her cashmere sweater under the coat. Understood. Rain-soaked streets slid by as they entered a narrow side street, passing old multi-story apartments constructed during the Yugoslav era. The building at number 14 was unremarkable, gray-painted facade, a small plaque reading 14, and a discreet intercom panel. Milena opened the side gate and ushered Emily inside. The narrow hallway was tiled with mosaic patterns, walls adorned with murals depicting Serbian architectural heritage. At the end, a sturdy wooden door revealed a warmly lit interior, a blue velvet sofa, a plush area rug, a solid oak coffee table, and a bookshelf overflowing with books and binders. Light beige walls and paneled wood ceilings gave the place the feel of a private residence rather than a safe house. Pointing to a door on the left, Milena said, "This is the living room. Leave your suitcase here. Your bedroom is upstairs, take those stairs." Emily set her bag down and surveyed the cozy space. "I didn't expect an FBI safe house to be so home-like."